Welcome everyone to the UrbanOne 2018 show. I'm your host, Wayne Johnson, and I'm thrilled to have you here with me today. As we embark on this exciting journey together, I want to let you know that this show is all about you, the topics, the questions, and the ideas that matter most to you. So whether you're a curious mind looking to learn something new, a seasoned professional seeking a fresh perspective, or just someone who loves good conversation, you're in the right place. Each episode of the UrbanOne 2018 show is designed to bring you a mix of thought-provoking interviews with some of the brightest minds in the industry. We'll explore the issues that are shaping our world today and uncover the trends that will shape our future. So sit back, relax, and let's dive right in. The UrbanOne 2018 show is here to guide you through the complexities of modern life and help you make sense of the world around you. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get started.
Welcome to UrbanOne 2018. I'm your host, Wayne Johnson. I have a special guest here with me today, Miss Lillie Johnson from East Sunset Drive. Man, I've been waiting for this interview and trying to get here. Welcome to Miss Lillie.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, I'm glad for you to be on the show today. And so, could you just tell our audience a little something about yourself? Just give us a brief introduction.
Well, I was born in Uriah, Alabama,
All right.
in Monroe County. I left that in a blanket as a baby and came to Atmore, Alabama, and lived on East Sunset Drive all my life and loved every bit of it, and still there.
It's still there. And yeah, we were sitting down talking about East Sunset Drive. You know, when we were kids years ago, Miss Margaret and your mom, you know, they were real good friends.
Like sisters.
Yeah, we used to come down when we were kids, and then wow. And so that's how we got to know you guys, is through their friendship.
Yeah.
And then, you know, family, because East Sunset Drive was a small place and everybody knew everybody.
Right.
And so we got some questions we want to talk about. We got
And love all Tuckers. I love all Tuckers.
Yeah, that's right. 'Cause it's a lot of us.
Love all Tuckers.
So we thank God for both of those families, and God has been good to both families. And like I said, it's just an honor to have on set today. And so we're going to talk about 5 things today. We're going to talk about the kids in our community at East Sunset Drive. Then we're going to talk about the kids growing up in the community in the same place. And also we're going to talk about how we're losing our youth and talk about church attendance. And then also after the 4th question is going to be Miss Lillie's leadership in the community, and she's going to talk about that a little bit. Then our last question, we'll end up with the Yellow Hat Society that she started at our church. And so let's start with our first question. Kids in our community in East Sunset Drive. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Love to. The kids in our community, we always was close-knit. And the children in our community, like Pastor Wayne, my son, the Bowens, and the Tuckers.
Yes, ma'am.
They was born and raised on Sunset Drive.
All right.
And we all was close-knit like family.
Yeah.
And when one child had a disagreement with the other,
Uh-huh.
whoever house you was at chastised everybody's child and made them go back to playing.
Yes, ma'am.
But these days and time, you can't chastise people's children no
Right.
more.
I got you.
Because there's consequences when you want to make these people's children behave.
Right.
And I think that's how we done branched off and losing our community, because
Yeah.
if you was at my house, I could chastise you. If my kid was at your mom's house,
Right.
she could chastise them.
Right.
And the only way that it would get told that you disobeyed, they would have to come tell you. Because you knew if you told it, you was going to get another whooping when you got home.
Didn't want that.
Didn't want that. You don't want that consequence. But these days and time, kids know that there's no consequence.
Yeah.
And that's how the world is the way it is now.
Yes.
And we're losing our youth like that because nobody can chastise other people's
Right.
children when they see them doing wrong.
Right. And yeah, and so true, you know, and correction is a good thing, you know, and I was telling, you know, people I talk to, you know, youth and correction go together.
It
My
do.
last whooping I got from Dad I was 17.
Yeah, yeah.
He told me to water them hogs, and I didn't do it. So I went playing with my friends, and I was 17. You know, I'm a senior in high school. You
That's
know?
right.
And so, but talking about that a little bit, Dad, he grew up there, you know, And so what he was trying to tell me, he was trying to make me out of a man, but I couldn't really understand it.
And see that.
Because I thought he was hard on me, and that's what you said. You know, we come to build the community, and the community are the people in the community.
Right.
Yeah. It's not the name, it's the people in the community.
It's the people in the community.
And if we don't build our kids and our youth, well, they can't be built, they can't grow up to be strong community leaders.
You can't learn, you can't learn an old dog new tree.
Oh, here we go.
And I had a friend at the past Mayor Howard Shell. He used to say,
Yeah.
you can't catch the mule when you left the barn gate open.
Oh, that's a good one. You can't catch a mule when you left the barn gate open.
So that's what happening these days with these kids.
Right.
They don't. The parents teach them, you don't have to listen to nobody but me.
Right, right.
That's the wrong decision.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's the wrong decision.
Yeah. And yeah, that's so true. Wrong decision. And a lot of times, what I see also, Miss Lillie, is that the kids don't understand. You know, they're trying to build a new bridge, but a wise man would use the same bridge that everybody else is using. So like Dolly Parton, you use that bridge to travel back and forth because it's connect you from one landmass to the next.
To another.
And so what you have done in your life is a bridge. If somebody want to be successful, they see what you done do. All they got to do is use the same bridge you built. You know, listen to sound wisdom and counsel.
That's right.
And it will make you a wiser person.
That's right.
And therefore you can be successful in life. Wow, that's awesome. And so talk a little bit more about that growing up stage, because I remember Mr. David Brooks used to be everybody was afraid of Mr. David Brooks.
That was my uncle. That's my mama's brother.
Look at it. I remember one time, excuse me, Mr. David Brooks was coming, and I almost ran into him. And boy, he got behind me. I took off.
And I bet he followed you around.
He did. But I took off. He lost me. He turned around. Yeah, talk about that community a little bit more.
Well, in that community, also the Dalys was in that community.
Yeah, that's right.
And I believe that Miss Joe Daly could see what was going on in our house, my house, because every time we would do something, she would tell my mama, well, you know they did this while you was gone. And she would come over and chastise us.
Yeah.
And have you noticed that the kids that was born and raised in that community, not the implants that came in, but the kids that were born and raised in that community tried to be good, successful folks.
Yes, yeah, they did because go ahead. Yeah.
Because they had consequences.
Yes.
Everybody worked.
Right. That's right.
And we didn't have to do no hard work. And when that yellow cheese bus run, you were gonna be on it.
That's right. Yeah, then you had Mr. Bob Watson, Mr. R.C. Bourne.
Yeah.
And then you had Buddy Watson. Then you had the McCants across the street.
Yeah.
Then on the corner there you had Mr. David Brooks. Then you had, your family.
Yeah.
Then on the corner you had the Dalys.
Yeah.
And then, down the street.
You had the Mallards.
Yeah.
You know, and all of us had those people to answer to.
That's right.
And behind me was the Kemps.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. On the short street over there. Yeah.
The Kemps.
Yeah. Then,
we go down.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you toward that trail. Because where Louis Banks Church is, that was the little shortcut.
That was the shortcut.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we used to go over there and those fields, we would do dove hunting back there on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's great. Wow. So talk about awesome times.
Them was good old days.
Them was the good old days. So since you got me, so every Saturday they would go to town. Everybody, granddaddy and them would go in there. All the family would go to town. On Saturdays, they would go buy $20 worth of groceries. That was a lot.
That was a lot.
And what we would do when they would leave, we would play and tear up the house, jump in beds and everything, and probably get a whooping every Saturday because we did that. But like you said, those were some good times, and we grew up with love
and respect.
And I want to say this right here, since we talk about those kids growing up, and I was talking to a friend of mine that George Sanders, he's the president of the Daily Gospel Network, and this is what he told me that really made a lot of sense. He said back then, we all had, I guess, a unified cause. Because see, if you were caught out after dark, it was consequences because, you could probably get hung or beaten or whatever. And so here we are. We had a unified cause.
Right.
And so we grew up with a unified cause.
Right.
Because we know I remember Mama said, go across Loretto over there and borrow a cup of rice, 2 eggs, a piece of bacon.
Right.
You know, we had to, we just, that's where the community did.
That's right.
And whenever they went across to ask for that, I never came back and didn't get something.
That's right.
And so here we are. So we grew up that way and with that unified cause. And like I said, we were bonded together because everybody looked out for everybody.
Right. And then when they get ready to kill hogs in the community,
yeah, there you go.
everybody came together to the hog killing. You know?
That's right. That's right.
And
That's
then
right.
we were stirring the pot, cut the meat up, and stirring the pot. That was just a good old day.
Right, yeah, you're right. You know, and since we talk about that, we brought something back. I never could understand, you know, because they had the sweet potato bed there too, and why the rats would not go in and eat them sweet potatoes.
And why we to get snake bit.
Yeah, and then you would stick your hand in there, and there's no snake, no rats would never go in there.
Never come out.
Yeah.
And then my dad and them had the smokehouse.
Yeah,
and
I remember that smokehouse. I remember that smokehouse.
And we would go in there, and the meat be hanging up, and the meat didn't run or nothing.
That's right, that's right.
And we would go in there and cut us a piece of that ham, not ready to
yeah, you're right. I remember all of that. Yeah, that's wild. That's great. And so let's get to our third question. We got to, oh man, we're having a good time. And so losing our youth in connection with church attendance. I know those two things go together because, you know, one builds upon the other. You know, and character is built because leadership and people are still family when it comes to the church. So talk about losing our kids and talk about church attendance.
When we was kids going to church, you can remember, everybody formed a line and you went to church. Yeah. And we had to walk to church. That's right. And me being a member of Greater Mount Triumph from East Sunset Drive to Carver's Avenue was a pretty good jump. But we would take the shortcut. Leave out our backyard and go on down through and come out by the park.
Yeah, I know what you know.
Come out at the park.
Yeah, I got you.
Houston Park. And we had 3 services a day. We had 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 7 o'clock.
Right.
Well, you could get by with that 7 o'clock if you went to church in the morning. You know, it's like some Sunday morning you'll play sick. Right. Well, if you were sick that morning for church, you were sick all day because you couldn't go nowhere. And so, didn't care how sick you was that morning, you would try to nuzzle on in case you go to feeling better in the evening.
You want to go play.
Go down to the Flamingo and go play. And but you don't have that these days. And why you don't have that these days? Parents don't go to church no more. Yeah, so true. Yeah. And my dad used to tell me, who was a deacon at Greater Mount Triumph for about 70 years, he used to say that you bring a child up in the way you have them to go. Right. And when they get old, they won't depart from it. Right. That's what he used to say. Yeah. And he said that don't never tell a person you can't leave where you don't go, and you can't teach what you don't know.
Oh, you can't leave
where you don't go. And you can't teach what you don't know.
Oh, wow.
So what he was saying is, if I don't go to church, I can't tell you to go.
Oh my God.
And if I don't tell you what the Bible says, you can't do what the Bible says. Oh. I need to teach you.
I need to teach you, and I need to lead you.
And I need to lead you.
So really showing that example. Because, oh man, that's a foundation, right?
Yeah.
See, when you build upon that foundation, and oh man, and because see, people back then, their words meant something.
Yeah.
When they told you something, and
a handshake, that was it. You go to sleep on. That was the bond.
They told you that they was going to do that, and they word.
Right.
And so, yeah, you.
Now people try to wheeze out of what's on paper now.
Yeah. And so, therefore, yeah, you're right. And then we start teaching a culture that their words are nothing. You can change your mind at the drop of a hat. But like you said, character is built in the trenches. Right. So whatever you're going to do, hardship, you know, for a long time, I didn't understand this as a leader because I was a supervisor at work since 1989. But I didn't understand that criticism came with leadership.
It do.
Yeah. And so I was confused when I started to get criticized and things started coming against me, and I was like, wow, you know, because you try to put it on two or three different things, but then I learned that when I watched other people that had skill sets, you know, and that they had leadership skill sets, they didn't have to struggle for it like I did, and so I began to understand when I began to read books. I said, man, wow, this criticism, because you're out front, ain't nobody out front but you. And so whatever's coming at you, it's going to get to you first. Then people behind you, the followers, you can observe the blow. And so criticism, when I understood that criticism came with leadership, and I began to understand conflict management, these were all skill sets that leaders that they knew. Our parents knew them, but they didn't call them that.
That's right.
They gave us the ability to be tough. They gave us discipline. They gave us times and
fed us and clothed us
and
made us mine.
And so when we went to the field, you didn't get no money.
You didn't get no.
You didn't get no money. That money went toward your school clothes, and then they gave you a dime or a nickel or something, and we were just happy as we could be.
Happy as a lot.
Man, I tell you, and then I could remember Miss Margaret used to cook that big spaghetti. She could cook some spaghetti, meat sauce, Lord. And that's one of her favorites. And back then, we had those big thongs.
You had to have a big pots because you come from, Tucker was a big family.
That's right. And if you missed dinner, it was over.
We'll be till next meal.
Wow. Man, I tell you, so we're having a good time looking back.
Yeah. Me being an only child for a long time.
Yeah. You were spoiled?
Wasn't no spoiled around the house, baby. No.
Not.
You got a little more than other kids was able to get, but wasn't no spoiling around the house.
Because everybody had to work.
Everybody had to do something. You had a choice. And go to bed without that chore.
That's right.
You'll wake up through the night running like fat.
You're right.
And I could hear my dad not telling my mom, "Oh, Mary Lee, they gal alone. You can't take a child and make an old person out of it." And I used to hear my mama say, you know how my mama was, "I'm going to beat her tonight if it causes a lawsuit in hell." I'm going to beat her. And I run to him and try to shield me. She be beating me. Me and him both.
Yeah, you're right. Because you would go to bed. I remember that too. Man, Mom and them would come in there and snatch them sheets off of you and get you. Say, "I'm going to get you. And it may be tomorrow." And she think about it, man. It was on. So it was consequences to your action. It's like you said, train up a child in the way they should go. So they showed us about work. They showed us about discipline. They showed us about being strong. Mentally strong.
Strong.
Because you had to go through something in order to
get something.
Yeah, to get something and know that you didn't get nothing for nothing.
Did nothing come free.
That's right. You're gonna pay a price, and this price was to work hard. Respect people and do unto others as you would have
them to do unto you.
Because you saw your parents do it.
That's right. That was the golden rule.
Yeah, you did that same thing. So now let's move forward a little bit to talk about Miss Mary Johnson after she matured and came into her own. And I want to talk about your leadership skill sets. And I see where you got some of your leadership skill sets, like Mr. David Brooks and all those guys. And then talk about how you got into being a community leader, moving into politics into where you are today in 2023.
I got in politics when I was 19. I wasn't even able to vote when I got in politics. Back in, you had to be 21 back in the day in order to vote. Now you can register at 18, but I came along in 21. And it was a mayor here in town by the name of Orrin Davis.
Orrin Davis.
He was the mayor.
Yeah.
And we was at some meeting or another.
Yeah.
And I got up and spoke out at the meeting.
Yeah.
And when I got ready to go, he said, "I want to talk to you." And then he asked me, because he was getting ready to come up the wrong for me. He said, I like your skills. I like your braveness.
Yeah.
And said, I would like to have you on my team. And I started getting in politics on the Orrin Davis at the age of 19.
Wow. Awesome.
And that's how I started getting in politics. And then I liked it so well.
Right.
Dr. McBride and William America took me under their arms.
Right.
And I went from there.
What did you learn from him at the beginning when he brought you on his team, that guy?
Talking about Orrin Davis, Mayor Orrin Davis?
Yeah, Mayor.
I learned from him that you have to be firm. You got to tell people the truth. That's number one.
Right.
Tell people the truth. Don't never tell a person what he want to hear.
Right.
Tell them the truth.
Right. Yeah.
And I watched him.
Oh, he demonstrated.
He demonstrated that. And then on down the line.
Right.
That all the politicians know I don't put up a fool. They already know that.
Yeah.
And I watched him on down the line. And that's how I got involved, and I loved it.
Yeah, and so basically, y'all kind of married each other because why? The skill set that he had, and you had the skill sets at a young age, and so he just kind of, helped you move into that.
And then William America got to be the
county commissioner, or
William America. He was the county commissioner.
Yeah,
and
right.
in fact, he was the first black chairman of the county commission.
Okay, yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
And then he took me, and he was into politics, and he took me along with him and everything, and I got a chance to get with Joe Reeves, Jerome Gray, all the people, and got to know everybody, and we would go up in Birmingham and all them places to the convention, Miss Willie Mae McGlass, all of them. And I was just a young child, but they took me on their wings, and I appreciate that.
Yes, right.
Because they taught me different stuff,
right.
And I was raised to listen to older folks. I was raised to listen to older people.
Woo, come on.
And so
they
after William and Miss McGlasser, and Miss McGlasser called me one day at work. I was at Melvin Carpet.
Yeah.
I worked there for 35 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And she called the carpet plant, and they came out and said, Miss Willie Mae McGlasser wants you to call. I said, I wonder what Miss Willie Mae McGlasser wants with me. And so when I called her, she said, what time you get off of work? I said, 3 o'clock. She said, can you come by here? I said, yeah, I'll come by.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll come by. And I went by, and she said, look at him. So I'm getting old, and said, I ain't getting all timers, I'm getting sometime. Sometime I'm with you, sometime I'm not. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, would you take the NAACP? I said, Miss Willie Mae, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
She said, take it, and I'm going to lead you and guide you. And she did.
Yes, she did? Okay.
And I was the NAACP president here for 12 years.
Okay.
I'm the one who started Dr. Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I started Dr. Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah, okay.
And started the parades and all that. We used to have bands and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Bands from Mobile and
everything.
Cameron and Evergreen and all that.
Okay.
So that's how I got started. And then when I decided, you know how people live,
right.
They get to thinking that they wanted it, I gave them the NAACP.
Right.
Then I talked to Wiley Tate, my friend Wiley Tate, I said, I'm going to give it to him.
Right.
He said, well, Lillie, you be so busy, what you going to do? I said, I talked it over with him.
Right.
Wiley, I said, I'm going to do I think I'm going to do the Rosa Parks break. See, I've been doing the Rosa Parks break about 16 years.
Yeah.
And he said, well, okay. And he said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to go back to the county commission and ask them to make Rosa Parks holiday in the county.
Okay.
He did that.
Okay. Wow.
And so I started Rosa Parks breakfast, and I said, I'm giving it on a Saturday morning because everybody be out. And I've been doing that for 16 years.
Wow. And I had attended the last two, and the last one we did. Man, it was just off the chain. It was great, and the speakers and the leaders and the fellowship is each year it seems like it has blossomed into what it was created to be, to bring awareness and to bring that leadership skill set back to our community so our youth can begin to see. And so I was thinking last time, it was so great. I said, man, we need to, because these cameras and all that stuff, we can record that YouTube and then just have it there.
Yeah, and I'm asking you.
Yes, ma'am.
Come next year for Rosa Parks, they bring all that.
I'm gonna do that.
Bring that with you.
We can do that.
And so I decided that we feed them breakfast and for free.
Yes.
Because the Yellow Hat does that.
Right.
And I did it before we started Yellow Hat.
Yes. Okay. I got you.
And so if the community just pull together, we could really do something in this time. We could do something in this time.
Because I've seen a tremendous stride has been made, in the last maybe 5 years.
Yeah.
I've seen tremendous change come to the community because we have leaders that have stepped up, some younger, like Eunice Johnson, our first lawyer.
Which is my cousin.
Mr. Reynolds, and him stepping up.
His mom and me is first cousin. His mama and my mama was sister.
Sisters, wow. You know, Mr. Reynolds, and he's a judge. And so we got those guys. Then we got, you know, Mr. James McNeil. And then we got a lot of leaders there like yourself that has really promoted that and really stepped up, which is really brought us into the forefront that we got other young leaders.
That's right, because unity is really the answer.
Yeah, the unity.
Is the answer.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. And I mean, and it's first class. You know,
It is.
It is. You know, and like, and so wow, we didn't talk. I don't know how long we've been going, but we got one more question we're going to talk about, and we talked about the yellow hats. I've seen it. You know, I've seen the unity in the yellow hats. I've seen the unity that was there with the yellow hats. You know, and the Rosa Park Day. I've seen it at the church. I've seen it all over the place. Talk a little bit about the yellow hat, how it got started. You know. And what's the motto? And let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Yellow Hat started, it was a vision of mine.
Okay.
I said that I'm going to start what you call a yellow hat.
Yeah.
And so when I called the people together, I called Miss Stalvers, Miss Pritchett, Miss Walker, Miss McBride. Right. You know, I was getting, you know,
feedback. Get some wisdom.
And we all met at my house.
Okay.
Miss Dees.
Okay.
Teresa Dees. We all met at my house. And then we formed that club.
Right.
And now we, in 2005.
Yeah.
And now we is 18 strong.
Okay. Amen.
We got black and white in our club.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, universal. Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah.
And so they asked me, said, what about letting the Yellow Hats help you with the Rose Ball? I said, well, I'm the president of the Yellow Hats. Okay, no problem. And so we've been doing that for about, with the Yellow Hats, we've been doing that maybe 5 years.
Okay.
Because the other time I had it, you know.
Oh, just Rosa Park.
Just Rosa Park, right. And I took on the old middle school.
Yes, ma'am.
And we did our school program.
Okay.
I paid every teacher in the afternoon to those kids. We gave them full course meals and everything.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I just like doing something.
Yeah.
I just like doing something.
Like I said, you've been a community leader for a very long time.
Yeah, I just like doing something. And I'm proud of the Yellow Hats.
Yeah.
We 18 strong now. It's 18 members.
Right, yeah.
And strong members. And our next project that we're going to do, it is going to be on the 25th, 26th, or the 27th.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Darren Mosley.
Okay.
Coach Mosley's son.
Yeah, Darren.
They called me back.
Yeah.
And pinned that date down. Because we're going to name the street going into the park after Coach Mosley.
Oh, okay, great. Because, you know, Darren Mosby, you know, me and him were classmates.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, he had his baby brother. Then the older one.
He's going to call me back this afternoon. I'm going to tell him. And I want you to come.
Okay, I'll be there.
You know, and it's going to be one of those days. Yeah. And we're going to name it there. We're going to put the signs up. Then we're going to... Coach Moses was one of the founders of the Progressive Civic and Recreation Club.
Yes,
and we're going to have a little refreshment after.
And then, Coach Moses.
Yeah.
Come in. We used to call Gigi because we used to work at Samco together.
Yeah.
Man. But wow, man.
And we have food bank, people that get burn out of tornadoes and broom, we give them money and stuff, because that's what we do. When we have our fundraisers and stuff, we put the money and stuff in the treasury and have a donation and stuff, and give it back to the community. That's what it says. And there's an old saying that says, it's better to give than it is to receive. I would rather give to somebody else than for somebody else to give to me. Because you can't never tell when your time.
You know, a friend of mine, he's a pastor, and this is what he told me, and we were talking like we're talking now. He said, and it was talking about, and we were just talking, and this is what he said that really stunned me. He said, I would rather be the one doing the wiping than being wiped. And I was like, what are you trying to say? And then he started telling me about his son has been paralyzed.
Right.
And he would go see him at the nursing home.
Right.
And he would tell me that he would have to wash him.
Right.
He said, I would rather be the one doing the wiping than the one
that
being
would have to wipe me.
Yeah. Because you have an option to leave and, care for yourself.
Right.
Wow, it's been a great interview, Miss Lillie.
And I'm glad you did.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm looking forward to you, and I'm going to call you sometime so you can help out with some of the stuff.
Yes, ma'am, I will.